Welcome to episode 30 of Out of Bounds, a podcast where I give my social commentary on different topics in today's society. I'm your host, Terry, and today talking about another relationship mistake. The previous episode, if you want to check that out, I was talking about hiding your partner, one of the mistakes that some people tend to do in relationships, and I give my own example. And today, my example is about getting jealous. And we all know that story of being jealous or overprotective of all those different things in a relationship. And really, I think everybody understands that's not a healthy thing, but I think we all look at it as something that's very common. And as I've said previously before, just because it's a common emotion doesn't mean that it's okay. And so you can say, yeah, everyone gets jealous. Well, that means it's okay. I could just move on. No, you need to address that and think about it and look into why. And so I'll give my, little story about being jealous, and it's personal, but I get personal here. I always do the truth. So it was a high school relationship, a prominent high school relationship for me, I would say. And this was actually the end of the relationship, towards the end, I should say. But this was the thing that ended the relationship. So actually, I would say as a teenager, I understood that being in a relationship didn't mean that a person couldn't talk to other people. And so actually, that was one of the things that I loved about being in a real relationship, like a real, true, committed relationship, is that you could talk to other girls or, maybe even flirt a little bit, but you knew that it didn't mean anything. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm going to go flirt with everybody. I mean that there was ease to talking to women once I was in this relationship, because it was like, I'm not looking for anything from them. And I mean, we know that's one of the stereotypes with men, and sometimes it's true, is how our bodies are. You are talking to women with an intention of getting to a certain point. But when you're in a committed relationship, it's like, oh, well, I'm free to be friends. It's the same thing if you're not attracted to a girl. You're like, okay, I'm not attracted to her, so our interactions are purely platonic. It was the same thing I felt like when I was in a relationship. It was like, I have someone to go to at night. I have someone to talk to. I have someone I'm committed with. So yeah, we can talk and kick it and, play around. And it feels a lot easier and natural because there's no stakes involved. I'm not trying to get anywhere with you. So I always liked that. And I felt that my girlfriend had that same thing. We talked about it sometimes, and I appreciate it. Like, yes, I'm glad you can, be open to have other male friends. So I was never like just a total controlling jealous type ever. Never really been a jealous type. But what happened was, towards the end of the relationship, after stuff happened, I ended up finding out that she cheated on me. So I've never cheated on a girlfriend ever. But I ended up finding out that she cheated on me. Not like, full throttle, sleeping with somebody else, but, it was another guy that she was friends with. And I found out they, at one point, only one time, end up, doing some stuff together. And it was at a time when she was mad at me. Now, we weren't on a break or anything, but she was upset with me. We were kind of on a rocky terms. Like I said, it was heading towards the end of the relationship. And so even though we weren't as close as we were at, previous points, the fact that she had cheated on me, it was just like, my head just kind of went red. I was like, wow. And so the only thing I cared about, I remember, is just, who was it? I don't care. And I feel like this was a long time ago, but I feel like I knew kind of who it was, but she didn't want to tell me because she knew I was going to be mad at him. Because look, that's the first sign. If you find out your significant other cheats on you and the first thing you care about is who it was, then obviously you got your mindset on that person and not your actual partner. So she was smart at the time to not tell me, but eventually, through the guilt of cheating on me and us trying to work it out, she did tell me, and I was on this dude. I knew exactly who he was, and I was on this dude. Now, he ended up being related to some people, or to a person that I know who was friends with other people that I was friends with. And so I couldn't outrightly just, make a move. And plus, that's not the type of student I was. I was a real good student. I never been in trouble and all that stuff in high school. So it was new to me. It was new to me. I never needed to get in the fight, felt like I needed to get in the fight. I never felt like I need to be concerned with stuff like that outside of class. And that was new. The feeling of just pure rage. It was like, man, I'm about to go, knock this dude out. And then so I remember at the time, it's funny, but it's still kind of messed up, is that every time this dude would see me, because eventually I'm sure she told him that, hey, my boyfriend knows. And so every time I seen this dude, even after me and her broke up, he would turn around and go the opposite direction. He was a younger guy than us too. And again, I don't think, it's a form of disrespect. He was trying to disrespect me, but he knew I was pissed at him, and I really was. And so I got to a point where I was like, look, I'm not about to seek this dude out because I got too much riding on the line for me. And that's a whole different conversation. But as the situation I am, as who I am, and with my identity, we can't afford the mistakes that other people can. And so I couldn't mess up my whole 4 years of high school, because this was senior year. I could not mess it all up just, messing with this dude. So I said to myself, look, we're not going to seek this dude out. But if he comes across us, then it's going to be, something different. So I'm like, if I bump into him in the hallway, or if I'm in the lunch line and he happened to be in front of anything like that, then we got free pass to go. But nothing ended up happening, thankfully. And you know what? Eventually in that moment, but then also later in my life, I really stopped to think, why was I so upset at him? You know what I mean? Why am I upset at the person that's with my girlfriend? And I think about that a lot whenever I see people talking about people cheating, or, the TV show Cheaters, or any type of media where they're like, oh, you talking to my woman? And it's like, why are we so defensive and upset at this person, whether they know or not that you're with them? Why do we take that as disrespect? And then part of that, as a man in a relationship, or anybody in a relationship, it doesn't really matter, because it works on both sides. As people in relationships, a monogamous relationship, we look at it as property too much, and not so much as controlling. And some people controlling, some people look at it as strictly my property. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I think just in the fact, as I mentioned before, a relationship to a lot of people means I'm getting from you what other people don't get. We look at it as exclusivity in the United States context, where we are a monogamous society. We are looking at you give me something that you don't get other people. Even in a polygamous society, I would say, where if you have multiple relationships, is what you give is within this circle. It's not to everybody. You're not a free agent. What you give to me, it should be special and exclusive to me. And so since somebody else is enjoying that, well, now I have a problem. I feel like you are infringing upon something that's exclusive to me. But the issue is, even if you agree in a relationship, yes, it's me and you, you don't own that person. You don't own your man and the affection he gives, and the jokes, and being able to hold you and all that. And you don't own your woman. You don't own her body. You don't own the way she holds your hand, the way she looks at you. You don't own any of that. And even as adults, we agree as two individuals that this is our relationship. You tend to, over time, think and feel as possessive that this is my property. And so I didn't like the way that felt. When I really thought about it, I'm like, okay, why am I upset at him? Whether he knew we were together, which he did. Everybody knew we were together. We were a popular couple. But whether he knew we were together or not, it's not like he did it to disrespect me. He did it because of his feelings for her. And that's not always the case, but in this case, that's what it was. And in most cases, that's what it is. But even outside of that, my biggest thing whenever people talk about cheating or messing with somebody's girl, or a girl messing with somebody's man, or somebody that's married, my whole thing is, if the person is willing to do that, then none of this matters. And that's the point I got to, especially when we broke up. I realized that, look, Terry, you're mad at the wrong person. You're displacing your anger. You're upset that she is willing to share herself with someone else that's not you. Up until this point, that's all she wanted to do, is share herself with you and be together with you. And now, for whatever reason, she's changed her mind. And more than likely, the reason is something you did, or something that there's a disconnect between you two. And a lot of times, instead of understanding the most obvious, we want to displace that blame. We want to say, no, it's not because of me, it's because of you. If you didn't show up and tempt her, she wouldn't cheated. Or if you didn't do it, then she wouldn't did it. But if she didn't do it with him, if he said no, there just would have been another person that she would have ended up doing it with. And it's not that, oh, this person is making your partner cheat. It's the fact that your partner feels something missing where they want to cheat or they want to be around other people. And so I think there's a healthy amount of that. Like I said, if she's hanging out with other male friends after school, or they have different activities that she's involved in with other male friends or whatever, or she talks to them, texts them, whatever. And in this day and age, there's a lot of technology. If they got people they talk to, then that's a healthy amount. It's not like you could shut them out from every contact of other males, or vice versa, or whatever. That is healthy. They need to have friends, and you should be comfortable in the fact that she's coming to me at the end of the night. Now, there are things that I feel are appropriate for me in my relationship, like, okay, making out. Or, sleeping with somebody. Now, that's a different thing, because look, you can't be everything to your partner. You just can't. There's going to be other people that fill gaps that you don't have, and you have to have the confidence and you have to have the confidence in yourself to be okay with that. And so I understand that there's a social aspect of that. Now, a sexual aspect, that might be something different. Emotional aspect, that might be something different. Those are things you got to think about. But at the end of the day, if they are finding something from other people that you don't provide and it bothers you, then you got to understand that relationship's not right for you. And so I'm not pro like 2019 where everything's a list. And it's like, let's check my list. They don't have what I want on my list. Let's just drop them. I'm not pro that. That's too far. But I am pro understanding when a relationship is not going to work. And one of the serious things that I would say falls into that category is if the person isn't, there with you on a monogamous level, if that's what you want. If you want it to be exclusive, you and her, or her and her, him and him, whoever, then you have to understand, or their partner needs to understand, that's what you want. And if that's what they also want, but their actions are showing otherwise, then you need to let that go. And you need to be upfront and honest with your expectations. So if I say, hey, I understand you want to laugh, joke, study, or go to movies, or you want to have conversations, arguments with other guys and stuff, but there's certain things that I feel like are just between me and you. And if she says, okay, I understand that, Terry, I agree, then we're on the same level. And then when she goes outside of that, then obviously we need to talk. Is there something that I'm not providing, or something that I did that drove you to do that? And we can talk about it. She can be open and say, yes, let's discuss it and fix it. And you can be open and fix it, or she could say no and close herself off. And then, y'all can't fix anything and she's just going to keep doing it, or, you know, whatever. And so to me, it's just all about being honest and having expectations, because you got to understand, if it's something you're doing, let's talk it out, communicate, and fix it. If not, if that's not something you're willing to do, then maybe that love isn't there anymore. And that's what we're all looking for. We're looking for people that we can bond with on friend level. We're looking for people that we can be partners with on a compatible level. And then we're looking for love. Love is that attachment and that glue that holds it together when we are at odds with each other. And so if that feeling isn't there, depending on where you are in the relationship, then it's time to let go. So for my example, we have been together just under a year, and that's around when the time this had happened. And so again, eventually we ended up breaking up. But the thing was, instead of being so angry at him and angry at her, but more angry at him, it should have been a case of, well, what happened between me and you that you felt you need to get that affection from somebody else? And then given the answer, that might be something we could work on and fix, or that might be something that I did or she did, or a disconnect that can't be fixed and we need to go our separate ways. But there's a lot of ego involved. And of course, as a young kid, there's a lot you don't know. So that was my story and kind of being possessive and jealous. But at the end of the day, like I said, you want to be with somebody that wants to be with you. That's very simple. And if you are with a person that shows they don't want to be with you, then let it go. It's not fruitful to be upset at other people about it, or even fruitful to just be mad at them and, you know, stick around and tell them how mad you are and how hurt you are. Just let it go. You've shown that you don't want to be with me, and so now I'm moving on to somebody that does want to be with me. And that's the truth of the matter. And if you are in the right relationship and someone doesn't, I wouldn't say doesn't want to be with you, but if someone feels that something happened that changes their feelings, or they feel like they're missing something, but the relationship is right, then your partner is going to come to you and talk about it and try to fix it. That's when you know the relationship is right. Everybody say communication is key, but nobody wants to communicate. Too many emotions, too many egos involved. And so I think at the end of the day, the lesson we take from people that are possessive and from the people that are jealous is basically that they are displacing their problems in their relationship on other people. And the people that are cheating, that's basically the same thing. They're displacing their gaps in their relationship with other people as well. So anyway, go down to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and until next episode.